Hold on, wait a minute. I got another one. Who says oh?
Pastor Beard continued. Mrs. Claus, be last.
Hey there, you little ho. My sack is packed to the brim.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies. It's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead, look it up. Thanks so much.
Today we are attending Beardschool once more. There are many previous parts if you have not watched them. I don't know if they tie into this at all. It's often done as a vignette format, and you'll probably pick it up. And regardless of if you do or don't, well, at least I don't have to read the Onision book for one more day. just keep kicking that can down the road. It's gonna be fine. Anyway, let's get into it and see what we got.
School of Beards, chapter 33. Good lord, that's so many.
Everything is spiffy. Yeah, usually. I don't know. Sometimes it gets a little topsy-turvy. Anyway, salutations, my fellow ReddX Industries partners, and an extra special good day to you, Dr. ReddX, beardologist extraordinaire. That's Mr. Dr. ReddX. I want all the honorifics possible.
Mr. Dr. ReddX, beardologist extraordinaire. Senpai Chan Kun.
Yeah, that'll work. I'm feeling quite a bit better than my last entry, and I am ready to write. Well, that's good. I can't recall it all that vividly, but that's what happens sometimes. You get a little older. Now I got holes in my brain. The feedback from these stories continues to confound me. I really think Standard High should have a reality show. There's money to be made off of this beardery. Yeah, mostly by me at this point, but if you kickstart the reality show, let me know. I would love to be the host. Of course, then you got to get consent form for all the parents, because, you know, there's kids running around in a high school. Inevitably, we will bump into them, and yeah, that's just a legal web waiting to be untangled. Also, while Bowler Beard is great, and I'm happy I directed you lot to it last story, that was also a typo. Aw, Bowler Beard's really good though. I meant to say you should check out Bowser Beard. It's a sequel, sorta, to Squirrel Beard, and it is posted in the r/ReddX Reads subreddit. Might be a fun ride to take sometime. I'd like to get into more stuff that has, like, you know, a defined beginning, middle, and end to it. It sounds like that one might, probably. OP says, I didn't text Squirrel Beard, and I'm not gonna. Probably. Here's a little bit of foreshadowing for you. Anyway, those of you supporting Emerald's Cave, OP's YouTube channel, already by subscribing or joining the Discord, thank you. I appreciate it so much. I've been waiting on my artist, Wee1, to finish my avatar. However, I'm just going to start recording voiceover only because I'm ready to go. Who knew doing a basic PNG avatar would be such a process? Yes, indeed. Elijah, how'd that make you feel?
I mean, it's alright, like...
So one way or the other, I'm launching this month, avatar or no, especially since Wee1 has run away from home. That is, to Mum's house. More on that in Story 4. Teenagers. Ugh. Yeah, those hormones is a hell of a thing. I don't know nothing about that. I'm terrified of that. I try to stay away from it. What I do know about is YouTube, and what I can tell you is that's absolutely correct. Start messy, because you'll never actually be ready. You just put some stuff out there and figure it out along the way. That's exactly what happened on this channel. I'm still figuring it out, for God's sake. Carrying on, the last couple of chapters have been cathartic. I didn't love including stories about students, even if they are anonymous, but the truth is that it's frustrating to watch some of what happens and be helpless to do anything about it. Well, if there's one thing that I learned from Clerks, it's definitely that title dictates behavior.
If title dictated my behavior as a clerk serving the public, I wouldn't be allowed to spit water at that guy.
So yeah, point being that you can do whatever you want, but there are repercussions sometimes. OP says, this is my outlet, and you lot seem to enjoy hearing about it. Vinny, for example. I've tried so hard to help him. It sucks when you care more about a student's success than they do. Easily the worst part of teaching. Yeah, I was one of those kids. I'm like, I can't swim. You just have to save me.
I need your help! No, you just have to save me!
But then one time this English class that I had decided to use an entire week to read To Kill a Mockingbird, so I just slept through it every single day. And then when the test rolled around, I totally aced it because, yeah, this is a 9th grade English class. I read To Kill a Mockingbird in like 6th grade. Unfortunately, my taste in literature has only degraded massively since then, apparently. Reading To Kill a Mockingbird is probably not that monetizable. Then again, you never know. If I just go in determined to hate it and tear it down, it could be fun. Anyway, OP says, I've rambled enough. Yeah, me too, I guess. Let's get into the first story. Pastor Beard, physical therapist.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he is. We can work out all those muscles, even the ones you didn't know you had.
Nice and hot. Yeah, boy.
As I mentioned in the last chapter, Beetle had a broken foot, a la a clumsy episode, with an iron dog bowl stand, and Pastor Beard continued to poke fun at him for it, much to Beetle's annoyance. That's when you bring in the dog bowl stand and set up a booby trap, or better yet, just smash him in the foot with it. They'll be like, you see how funny it is? Not at all. He's a fucking weird, like really pompous, self-important guy.
I'd love to take him down a peg or two.
Anyway, on this particular day, we stayed after school for my GSA meeting. This was the meeting where I officially announced that we would be combining GSA and No Place for Hate into a single club so I could shift my focus to the National Technical Honor Society. With teaching, mascot design, and the Honor Society, I simply didn't have time for GSA anymore. And it wasn't going so well anyway. Abandoned ship. What do these people really have in common anyways? They go to the same high school, they like genitals the same shape as theirs. Like, that's about it. I guess they also enjoy after-school programs, which seems ungodly to me, but I don't know. You live how you want to live, I guess.
Oh, you're going to GSA? I'm gonna smoke this ditchweed from an apple underneath the gym bleachers and party human woo.
Honestly, this sounds a lot better to me. So yeah, dump them. Who cares? Mr. Principal was the one that actually suggested Beetle and I combine the clubs, and I thought it was a rather brilliant idea. Yeah, that's what Mr. Principal's good at. Paperwork and consolidation. Why not pay 2 people to do a job when we could not pay just 1 person? God damn. Beetle could just run it as a single club, and that would free me up to focus on the National Technical Honor Society. Should I just say it? I think I'm going to say the whole thing, like a pimp named Slickback.
Like a Tribe Called Quest. You say the whole thing. A pimp named Slickback.
Hey, that's our Boondocks reference for the day. Got it in nice and early. However, this was also the day I wrote the last chapter, and I was feeling like crap. I put on a happy face to get through the workday, but by the time GSA was over, I was done. Well, I'm proud of myself for detecting that even through text, you know? As I was wrapping the meeting, Beetle told me he needed to go make some copies and pack up his stuff. He promised he'd be back quickly so we could go home and I could get into bed. Amen to that. I don't think there's been a day in my life that the bed has not looked cozy and inviting. So I waited, and I waited, and I waited some more. I was starting to get impatient now. I'd been putting on a happy, perky front all day, despite feeling like shite, and I was just done. I wanted to go home. Text him, catch a Uber. There's always options. Finally, I did get a text from Beetle.
Sorry, I've been beard napped.
Ah, crap, I mumbled to myself. What is it, Mom? Weewan asked. She was waiting in my cave with me. Dad just texted me, and yeah, he's been beard napped, so that means if I want to get out of here, I've got to go save him, I grumbled. Do you want me to go get him? She asked. No, because I'm not sure which beard it is, and if it's English beard, you really don't need to be involved. You see, English beard's kind of got a thing going on.
For that kid over there.
It's really weird, and if you can imagine that I want to smash Pastor Beard's toes with a dog bowl, you can only imagine the type of fury I would unleash upon English Beard. I sighed and stood up, and the nausea flooded over me again. I was not pleased. So, which beard? Beardnap Beetle, and why did he let it happen? It was Pastor Beard because the title of the story. But let's rewind a bit anyways. When Beetle left my room, he did indeed plan on being quick. He went to get his stuff from his classroom, then stopped off in the copy room to make his copies, and this is when Pastor Beard entered the chat.
Hey, bro, what are you still doing here?
Pastor Beard asked. Just finishing up. Emmy had her GSA meeting today, but we're about to head out, Beetle replied.
Oh, right. She sponsors the GSA,
Pastor Beard said, with a sour tone in his voice.
I see you're still in that boot, bro. When does that come off?
What an uninteresting nothing conversation. Do you really have nothing else to do? Please leave me alone.
But I guess we can't say that because social veneer, right?
Beetle narrowed his eyes and said, it comes off in 6 to 8 weeks, so like 2 to 4 from right now.
As soon as it comes off, you need to start exercising it. Probably even before it comes off, so you don't lose what muscle you have,
Pastor Beard said. Yeah, he's definitely throwing shade now. Time to let him have it. Beetle was extremely annoyed now. And while this is where I would have said, thanks for the tip, gotta go now, Beetle instead continued to engage. I know how to rehabilitate my leg, mate, he replied. I know my blunt nature can be annoying or interpreted as abrasive by some, but damned if it doesn't save me from this sort of thing. I think that's one thing that we appreciate about each other. My wife is the same way. She will say some shit that will just break your heart, but you look down to like the pearl of truth at the center of it, and you're like, well, I guess I can't even really be mad. She was right about the whole thing. So yes, I am a person that highly values directness. Any sort of indirectness or passive aggression just fucking drives me insane. Anyway, Pastor Beard shook his head.
Whatever you think you know, you're wrong. You need to do specific stretches starting now to keep those muscles up.
Oh yeah? How many boot casts you wore in your life? Is he even like a toned dude? Or is it just some schlub trying to instruct a lanklet on muscles?
I mean, I've got the muscles. Ladies love me.
Beetle says, mate, my foot's bloody broken. I can't stretch it. He's getting more agitated at this point.
Common misconception. You should be working on it now,
Pastor Beard said. I don't even understand why we need to engage. I don't care what you think about my foot. Mind your own fucking business. Well, my doctor advised me to wait 4 to 6 weeks. Considering I've already re-injured it once, I'm leaning towards 6, Beetle said. Yeah, he re-injured it on Thanksgiving. He insisted on cooking, and he said the boot was in his way, so he did all the cooking barefoot. Idiot. Let the wife do that stuff. She loves it. You play front of house, have a beer, and entertain. At least that's the division of labor in my house.
I'd get a second opinion. You wouldn't re-injure it if you worked it,
Pastor Beard said.
Hey, aren't you gonna be a doctor?
Yeah, Sawbones, what's wrong with me? I'll be honest, Pastor Beard, I think you need a shrink more than a physical doctor. But even the shrink's like, no, I can't help with this. You're going to have to ask Jesus. And then Jesus comes down and says, Pastor Beard did what in my name? I'm not helping him out. He's an asshole. And he'd be completely right about all that. Beetle was caught off guard by the sudden shift of topic from foot to doctor, and he says, yeah, I am. Not a medical doctor, though.
When do you graduate?
Pastor Beard asked. 2025, Beetle replied.
What's your dissertation on?
Pastor Beard asked. What? Holy non sequitur, Batman. I guess he sensed the conversation was not going in his favor. He's like, I better shift gears or I might end up alone. Let me tell you something, pal. You're gonna end up alone either way. Starting a different, slightly less nothing conversation is not gonna help you out. The problem has been inside you the whole time. You're just, I don't know how to put this lightly, insufferable. Beetle sighed and said, my dissertation's on inequality in SPED evaluation for ESL students. Why? Pastor Beard asked. Because it's a serious issue I've identified, and Beetle proceeded to ramble on about his topic, which he is passionate about and can do at great length. Honestly, love that for him, but I'm also thinking, like, what's Pastor Beard's angle here? Because there has to be one. But once Beetle finally finished,
It seems a little unnecessary,
Pastor Beard countered. Unnecessary? Beetle cried. These are kids that are falling through the cracks just because they don't speak English.
So maybe they should learn so they can be tested,
Pastor Beard shrugged. If they have a learning disability, they can't just learn a second language. Beetle was now getting heated. This is approximately the time that I headed out to find Beetle. I walked into the English copy room and saw Pastor Beard. Lovely. Love, you ready? I asked. Beetle nodded.
Yeah, sorry. Abby, how are you doing on this lovely day?
Pastor Beard asked me. Surprised he didn't put a fedora on so he could tip it. Spiffy, I replied. Beetle knew that was the answer that I gave when I was anything but spiffy. It was my sarcastic answer, but only people who really knew me realized that.
Come on, doesn't Pastor Beard know you? He's everybody's friend.
At least from his perspective. From everybody else's perspective, yeah. Just a local douchebag. Nothing to see here.
I'm glad to hear it,
Pastor Beard replied.
We never see you over here anymore. You should stop by more.
I sighed. I was not in the mood. Why? I don't teach English. I have my cave and it's over in math.
We just miss you over here. I'm sure Beetle agrees,
Pastor Beard said. Don't try to pull my husband in on this shit. I see exactly what you're doing, and it's quite uncouth. And again, Jesus standing up there looking down like, this fucking guy. I rolled my eyes and said, my cave is quite lovely. Now, we really have to get home. Fur babies need us, so see you, mate. I grabbed Beetle's arm and pulled him out before he could re-engage. You will let yourself be beard napped when you know I feel like shite, I cried as we headed back to my cave.
I'm sorry, love, he just started talking to me,
Beetle tried to explain. And you engaged instead of just having the bollocks to walk away, I snapped.
Love, I'm so sorry. Let's get you home,
Beetle said as we got back to my cave. I mean, isn't that about the point where you put your foot down and you say, I'm sorry you're not having a good day, but I will not be spoken to that way. But I guess if he can't confront the local douchebag, he definitely can't confront his wife. We got Wee-Wan and headed home. I obviously was over it within minutes of getting home, but in that moment I was ticked. Beetle has got to stop allowing himself to be beard napped. I mean, via these videos, I've taught him every exit strategy that I can think of to get out of a conversation, but I guess he finds it just too rude to actually use it. It might just be a part of him so deeply ingrained that you gotta be like, okay, that's who you are then. I accept you for your flaws. But I truly believe that deep down there's a tiger wanting to get out. But who can really say? Mystery for another day. On into story 2, Mannybeard, fashionista. Yeah, we all want to be the pinnacle of fashion, don't we? Look at me in cargo shorts and flip-flops. Stupid nerdy graphic print t-shirt.
We're just out here living the dream.
At Standard High, we were slamming into the fall wall hard. Even me. Yeah, we talked about that last episode, no? As much as I am constantly working typically, I decided since I was caught up on everything that I'd spend the day playing games on my phone when I wasn't actually teaching. I rarely, if ever, did things like that. This also happened to be on ReddX's birthday. Oh my goodness, you did stop by the stream, didn't you? Thank you so much. I don't put all that much stock into my birthday, but it is a day where I get to do what I want to do, so that's nice. But I don't expect presents and all that type of stuff. I pulled out my earbuds and popped into the stream to wish him a happy birthday. I was absolutely not myself on this day because burnout is real, people. God, ain't that the truth? I've been doing these videos for like 3 years. Just constantly, day in, day out. I really do think a part of myself died along with Chris Trucker. I don't know if this content affects the true positive change that I want to see in the world. So I don't know, yes, can confirm, burnout is real. I'm just rambling to myself at this point. Anyway, fall wall was not limited to just me. The kids didn't want to work. The APs could be heard in the hall during class trying to herd them into the classes because they just didn't want to go. It was like herding drunken cats. Teachers had started showing a lot more movies than usual. We needed the winter break. Bro, winter break bitch made, summer break forever.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
By lunch, I was ready to go home and nap. I was just not feeling it. See, bed, so cozy and inviting, yes. Beetle could see that I was in a funk. What is it? He asked, and I shrugged. Just tired, I think. I just want to go home and crash. I know, me too, he said. I've literally been playing this game all day when I'm not actively teaching, I sighed. What is it? Warcraft Rumble? That's about the only game I play besides emulators on my phone at this point. And even that, meh, it's not as engaging as it was at the very beginning. Free-to-play mobile titles suck, man. You should just spend $5 on Terraria or Stardew Valley, and there's your phone game forever. Maybe that's exactly what OP did. I have no idea. Beetle says, you, misrule follower, playing mobile games at work. He was being both teasing and actually concerned. No, it just makes good sense. They tune out, you tune out. I can't waste my time caring if you really don't care. OP says, yeah, I know, it's not something I ever do. I think I just slammed into the fall wall. That's right, it wasn't me. It was the fall wall. Everybody slammed into it, myself included. But again, I totally understand. Nobody cares. I find that really refreshing sometimes. After lunch, Beetle headed up to his room. A few minutes later, he texted me, I think I have something that'll cheer you up. Oh yeah? I'm here for it. What is it? I asked. He then texted me the following photo of Manny. And it is a rather skinny, effeminate man with peekaboo highlights and a pink striped Barbie shirt. Just a big Barbie logo emblazoned across the back. We're not gonna include the photo here, simply because it was taken without this person's knowledge, and I don't know if I feel too great about that. I do dip into lolcow content recently, but most of that is uploaded by the person, so yeah, feel justified in criticizing it if you want. You can go see it in the thread for yourself if you're super curious, but yeah, I don't want that kind of karma in my YouTube video, honestly. I think that's why I put this one off for so long. I looked at it when it first came out and I said, nah, doesn't feel great. But yes, pink striped Barbie shirt. Oh my god, I need that shirt, I replied. It'd look better on you anyway, Beetle said. Do you need to raid Manny's closet? Is he your bestie now? I rolled my eyes and replied, nice try, love. Just because he's worn a grand total of one thing I like does not make us besties. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Besides, I could never break up your bromance.
I mean, you could, but then we're missing out on some quality content. I hate you, Beetle replied.
I know. By the way, I just found that shirt on Target's website and I'm ordering it, I said. Yes, impulse purchases. I haven't done it in a while and all of a sudden I have so much more money. But if you wanted to give me a little bit more, you could drop a super chat on the video. I'd appreciate that. You listened to it this far, you must have liked it, right? Maybe subscribe, maybe YouTube membership or the old Patreon. Come on, impulse purchases feel good. I'm giving you the chance to do it right now. Anyways, Beetle says, seriously? You want to be twinsies with Mannybeard? What, do you want to borrow it so you can be? I countered. No, Beetle replied. But deep down, kinda maybe. I still ain't seen that Barbie movie. I can't find the motivation. So Beetle was right. All of this did cheer me up. When we went down to duty that day, I went to Manny and tried to be nice. I love your shirt, I said. Oh, thanks, he said, shifting uncomfortably. Where did you get it? I asked, trying to be polite even though I already knew. Target, but like the one in Southville, he said, and I winced. I didn't even like thinking about that place that Squirrel Beard lived. Do you think that Manny has a bromance going on with Squirrel Beard and he's cheating on Beetle, and every night they get together and they take off their Barbie shirts and make out? But I mean, it's not like really a big deal because it's just a bromance, you know, a couple of bros broing out.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
That's the working theory anyways, I guess, now. I decided just this instant. Okay, I said. I got the last one, Manny added. Well, I really like it. It's awesome, I said. I was really trying to be nice to this bloke. I mean, you sorta did it. It felt stilted and forced even through text, but I don't think Mannybeard notices much. Okay, so yeah, thanks again, he said again, awkwardly. There was no saving this conversation. So I turned and headed back to my duty spot. Beetle finally joined me. You know, you always tell these stories about him talking, and when I talk to him, I get short, awkward answers, I said. Beetle shrugged. With me, he does just talk and talk. I mean, some people talkers, some people listeners, you know? The talkers like to find the listeners and talk to them. Maybe Mannybeard's more perceptive than we thought. He identified OP as a fellow talker, and he's like, nah, this relationship's not compatible. So OP encourages Beetle to go over there and compliment his shirt. Beetle sighed. Fine. Beetle walked over to Manny. I stayed far enough back that I wasn't involved, but close enough to overhear. Manny, noticed your shirt earlier, mate. It's cute, Beetle said. And no, indeed, those are not fighting words because we live in current year. Manny smiled as much as he ever smiles. Thanks. I got the last one in Southville. Don't you love Barbie? Beetle forced a smile. Barbie is okay. Emmy is obsessed. Did you see the movie? Manny asked, and Beetle nodded. Yeah, Emmy dragged me to it. Oh my god, wasn't it so good? It was everything. It was my soul on screen, Manny said dreamily. God damn. It really made you feel a certain type of way. Beetle shrugged. Yeah, it was okay. Emmy said she was disappointed. How? It was epic. It was my heart. It was everything I never dared dream a Barbie movie could be. And more, Manny said. Okay, cool. Glad you enjoyed it. I bit my lip and pretended to be looking at something in the other direction to keep from cracking up at this point. I'm glad you liked it so much, mate, Beetle said. It's the perfect response. Loved. I loved it. I've seen it so many times, literally like 100 or more. How many times have you seen it? Manny asked. Once. I told you. Emmy was disappointed. She pretends it never happened. She just collects her dolls and does her Barbie thing, ignoring the movie, Beetle explained. God, it seems really divisive. Now I need the context. I don't understand. How did that movie not touch your heart in the deepest way? Manny asked, clearly offended. I don't know, Manny. Maybe we missed something. Maybe you just connected to it in a way that we didn't, Beetle shrugged. The idea that the utopia of Barbieland was not perfect and that typical Barbie would be willing to go to the real world? Manny gave his full analysis of the movie. I'm sure some of you would actually like to read that essay-long analysis. Sorry, I'm not writing all that shite out. It was long and boring and repetitive. Like the Barbie movie itself? I do want to know what your gripe with it was, but only after I've seen it, I guess. Anyway, Beetle just stood there listening. I looked at him and noticed that his eyes were glazed over. He wanted out, and I knew he was hating me for making him engage. I decided to save him. I walked over. Well, cafeteria's cleared out. Time to go home. See you, Manny, I said as I grabbed Beetle's arm and dragged him away. I hate you, Beetle grumbled as we headed back to my cave to get Wee One, and I laughed again. I know. Are you satisfied now? Beetle asked, and I nodded. Yep, the result of that perfectly scientific experiment is that Manny only rambles to his bestie. Yeah, he could have easily gone down the same line of logic with OP, but he doesn't want to open the door. He knows who he likes and who he don't, and honestly, I respect him for it. He is who he is, no matter what other people think about it, and that's like the chadliest thing you can do, honestly. However, there is the beard side that doesn't acknowledge his own mistakes, and, you know, he's absolutely oblivious to absolutely everything around him. It is an interesting mix. Beetle just says, shut up. It's just science. Go ahead and look it up, I teased. Yes, many of Redd's catchphrases have made it into our daily conversations regularly. See, that's beautiful. The branding, it's working. Beetle will also constantly say, it's fine, it's fine. Reddisms, only from ReddX Industry. And yes, Redd, we really do text about your channel as well. You really don't get how much your channel is a part of our daily lives at this point. You created something special here, mate. Oh God, in the same episode that I talked about wanting to do something else. Well, this is awkward, isn't it? I definitely love this entire community, and I hope that most of you will follow me on to whatever is next. I think ReddX will continue in some form or fashion. But yeah, daily content been tearing me up for 3-4 years now. I think I earned like a little bit of a break. I love the love for the channel. I honestly couldn't do it without you. But yeah, things come in waves, I guess. Much like the catchphrases on ReddX, it's fine has made its way out of my vocabulary. Recently, I've just been a fruit-pilled peach cell. You know. There was also some Bean Boys stuff that went on for a while. You know, totally goth, foul soup. It depends on what I'm reading at the time, I guess. Anyway, that's a long diatribe. But yeah, you opened up to me, so I want to open up to you a little bit. This community has made all of my dreams come true. I will never completely abandon you. But yeah, daily content, it's just hard to keep up with. Anyway, so this is how I prove that Manny is awkward in different ways with Beetle and I, but he is always awkward. And that's how I ended up getting the same shirt as Manny, which I got yesterday, and I was right. It looks better on me. Do you even dare to wear it to school? Will he see that as an affront of some sort? Now that's a hell of an experiment. Totally science, trace amounts. And that brings us on into story number 3. English department meeting, holiday edition. Yeah, they just buy some like Target cookies and set them out on a plate. Merry fucking Christmas, what do you want? This wasn't even in the budget. I had to pay $9 for these cookies. Beetle had managed to get out of most full department meetings since school started, but on this day, he didn't have a valid excuse to not be there, and so after duty, he begrudgingly headed back to the English wing and to Pastor Beard's classroom. I went to my cave. What ensued was a 45-minute vent over text throughout the whole meeting. I felt like I was there. Should have just put it on the voice call. Then there's a record of everything. Pastor Beard's trying to set up a holiday potluck and secret Santa, Beetle said. Little late much? Cause like, we got 2 weeks left of school. Cook had our secret Santa set up before autumn break, I said. Right, Beetle replied. English Beard just walked in and sat with Miss Dean. It really is a play-by-play, isn't it? OP says, I wonder if his lips ever get tired of kissing her ass. Let me back up, I guess. I'm a bit ahead of myself. Pastor Beard decided to open the meeting with some Christmas jokes.
I was joking. It was a Christmas joke.
This is gonna go well.
Oh, what's another name for Santa's elves?
He asked. Crickets.
Subordinate clauses.
Pastor Beard laughed. Forced chuckles all around. Yeah, a smattering of indifference. You just lifted these off the internet, didn't you?
Great way to break the ice.
But yeah, I'm not impressed.
Hold on, wait a minute. I got another one. Who says oh, oh, oh?
Pastor Beard continued. Mrs. Claus, be last.
Hey there, you little ho-ho-ho. My sack is packed to the brim.
It's pretty good. Several of the other teachers giggled, but Pastor Beard was not amused. Yeah, you just dropped the punchline in your lap. That's hilarious.
No, Santa walking backwards,
he said with a glance of disdain at Beetle. Personally, I think Beetle's answer was funnier. Can confirm, objectively, Santa walking backwards? Maybe he did write them himself. This is fucking terrible. Or he probably qualified the search. School appropriate Christmas jokes. Then you end up with a bunch of shit like this. Comedy's only really funny when you're working blue. At least in my opinion. And for those who may not know, working blue is comedian speak for talking about dirty things. Saying bad words. Ooh. If you don't work blue, it's a lot easier to get a corporate gig. But again, I digress. So Pastor Beard started the meeting, finally, which was a bunch of stuff that really just could have been an email. He went on about a potluck and Secret Santa. Ultimately, everyone agreed it was too late to do the Secret Santa, but they were on board with the potluck. Then Beetle made a very big mistake, one that he immediately regretted.
English 3 took a field trip to the local Christian university. How'd that go?
Pastor Beard asked. Really well. The campus is beautiful, and the kids loved it, Daria replied. Daria is one of my favorite voices to do.
It's a really beautiful campus. That's where wee one's going,
Beetle offered, forgetting who was in the room with him. English Beard perked up immediately.
Oh, really? That's where she's going. So she's staying local?
You fucking creep. Why are you so invested? It's weird. Please stay away from me and my family. Beetle realized what he had done. We had been trying to not tell English Beard where she was going to uni. That's a wonderful school, Miss Dean said. Beetle sighed. We were pissed at Wee One for running away at this point. That didn't mean we wanted to throw her to the wolves. Beards all think they're wolves, right? I believe that saying applies. Yes, I'm glad you pointed out. Would have completely passed me by. The ones that don't outright think they're wolves do indeed wear 3 Wolf Moon t-shirts. Anyway, the genie was out of the bottle now.
Yeah, she's really excited. Maybe I could visit her sometime and get a tour from an actual student. If I'm still here,
English Beard said.
Doubtful, mate. Security on that campus is really tight. Really, really tight.
And what do you mean, if you're still here? Beetle asked. English Beard replied,
My wife applied for a job out of state. If she gets it, we'll have to move and I'll have to leave Standard High and, of course, my favorite student.
I don't think you should have a favorite student. Isn't there something about that in like a teacher's code of ethics or something? And even beyond that, this seems to have gone way further than just she's my favorite. It's now I want to keep tabs on her for the rest of her life. It's fucking weird, bro. And I like how Beetle's talking about the security too. Do not try to stalk her. They will arrest you. I kind of hope English Beard moves out of state, but also then we'll lose the racist teacher that started the saga, so I don't know. This type of thing always tears me up inside.
We would miss you, English beard. Selfishly, I hope that you stay,
Miss Dean said. Beetle was secretly hoping that Mrs. Englishbeard got the job and we could be rid of him for good. The rest of the meeting was Pastor Beard trying to get everyone's attention back on him before Miss Dean took it upon herself to say that she thought they were good and dismissed them. I don't care how furious I get at Wee One. If Englishbeard steps one toe near her, I will end him. I mean, I do think it would be a good idea to have a frank conversation with him, point out some of these weird things and be like, so what the fuck's up with this? It might kick him into hyperdrive, though. If you were gathering evidence as it persisted, then I'd say, let him do what he's gonna do and you just sort of keep tabs on him. But at this point, everybody's just kind of standing around hoping it turns out okay. Protecting her, yes, sort of, except when we have little goof-ups. All I'm saying is, look, maybe start the paper trail. It's weird. It's sus. I don't like it none too much. But now we're at the story 4. It's called A Little More Personal. OP says this one does include a beard, but it's also a bit of a vent from me. Red, if you want to skip to the 5th tale, I understand, because this isn't a normal one.
What's it got, feels or something like that? Oh, it's gonna be so sad.
It's cool. I'm ready. Break me up inside. I came here to take the ride, so just let me take the ride. Here we go. As I've alluded to many times in this story already, things with Wee One and I are strained, to say the least. In fact, Wee One is her nickname and no longer seems right for this part of the story, so let's give her a real name. Rose. Got that? From here on in, Wee One is now Rose. Well, good thing I didn't skip this part of the story, because I'd be like, who the fuck is Rose next time she pops up? That's kind of a critical thing. Anyway, without airing out all of our dirty laundry, I will say that Rose ran away to Mum's and made several claims about things I said that were just completely false. She did misconstrue some things, but others just flat out did not get said. However, Mum was only hearing Rose's side, and as such decided that I was the one not telling the truth. Yes, of course, most people believe their flesh and blood. Especially these days. My child can do no wrong. Back in my day, we'd look at them kids and say, I know you did that shit. And even if you're wrong about it and beat them for it, they'll learn a hard lesson. The world's not fair. You can take that to the bank. Legal disclaimer, Grandpa ReddX does not represent the views or opinions of ReddX Industries, Inc. Thank you so much. In the end, OP says, what I did to Rose was compared to something Rapscallion, my biological donor, for those that read my Raised by a Nice Guy series, did to me years ago. I ain't read that one either, honestly. There is such a thing as too prolific. To say this situation broke me was an understatement. The whole situation was made more challenging by Rose being in 3 periods of my classes. I treated her like any other student and was professional, but inside, I felt like I was dying just a little bit. Yeah, don't worry about that too much. I mean, factually, you are correct. Every second that passes. By the end of the 2nd day of this, my mental state was in shambles. When my last class left, I turned off all the lights in my room except my desk lamp. That made the room really dark, and that was fine by me. I wanted to be left alone. Seems a little bit dramatic, but I usually keep the lights off in my studio unless I need face cam, which is never, essentially. We're saving big money on light bulbs over here, that's what I'll say. And for the most part, I was alone until Englishbeard knocked on my door. He was peeking around until he noticed my desk lamp light. I looked up and saw him. Bloody fucking hell, why him? Why now? I can't bloody do this right now. I mumbled to myself as I went and opened my door. Yes, Englishbeard, I asked, unable to muster any more fake perkiness. Damn, all it took was 3 days? We need to be doing more than what we're doing. I'll just say that. As for what action you want to take, I'm not too sure. He hasn't committed a crime yet, but it's weird. It's just really weird to me. OP says, I'll be honest with you lot. I don't remember everything he rambled on about because I was in such a state that I wasn't even comprehending most of it. I know it involved his robotics club, doing something with 3D printing, and wanting to collaborate with Mascot Design after his winter break. Well, collaboration's probably overrated anyway. Take it from me, the guy who has basically never collaborated with anyone. Except for Moonhorse one time. And Michael Sean during the Roger iceberg. I've also been talking to Walter Fate about stuff, but I don't know. If it happens, it happens. OP says, yeah, sure, we can discuss a collaboration after break, I mumbled. We won't. I do not want to work with him, mostly because I think it's a ploy for him to get near Rose.
Are you okay? You look beaten down,
he said. Not really, but it's fine. I'll be fine, I said, taking a step back in order to close the door.
Is Rose okay?
Englishbeard asked, and my eyes narrowed. Rose is spiffy. Thanks for stopping by.
Do you want to talk about it?
He asked, like I would give him any information that would lead him to go be a support for Rose to lean on. Not happening. No, thanks, but it's fine, mate. He really is trying to weasel in there any way that he can.
Are you sure? I'm here for you, Emmy. And Rose.
Englishbeard said. I'm sure. Have a good night, mate. I'll see you later, I said.
Well, okay then,
Englishbeard said as he turned away. I closed the door and stood for a moment in the darkness of my cave. Something about my interaction with Englishbeard just set me off. Was it the fact that my perky facade slipped? Was it my innate need to protect Rose even when she was treating me like a monster? Was it just the final straw of a few days of intense emotion? Maybe all of the above. I can't really say for sure, but I lost it. I walked over to the screen printing table and I swiped off everything which laid on the table, mostly t-shirts and hoodies we were working on, and I fell to the floor and legit sobbed. Everything Rapscallion ever did to me flooded my mind, and every fear I ever held about ever being one iota like him washed over me. For about 30 minutes, I just broke down. No shame in that, honestly. A cry is like a good shower for the soul. After this 30 minutes of feeling horrible, you're going to feel so great afterwards. Am I helping? I'm probably helping. Eventually, I managed to pull myself up and clean up the mess that I had made. A few minutes later, Beetle walked in, ready to leave. I told him what happened, and he offered comfort. The next day, Beetle told me that Englishbeard went to his classroom.
Beetle, Abby looked like she was in a bad way yesterday. I just want you to know you're all in my thoughts, and I'm here for you all if you need me,
Englishbeard said. Beetle doesn't trust him to not use this as a ploy to get to Rose either. Thank you, Englishbeard. We're all fine. Yep, he'll just keep on trying with absolutely everybody that he can until he finds a crack in the armor. Then he sinks his tentacles inside and rips you open, like those adult anime videos that he watches during class. I'm sorry for that. Okay, so yeah, like I said, not really a normal story, but it did include a beard, and also that's just kind of where I'm at right now, so yeah. Nah, I definitely know what it's like. Come on, mood shift back to good again. Come on, mood shift back to good again. Come on, can it go? You'll get back on the horse sooner rather than later. We all do. It's just a rough patch. Rough patches happen. It's gonna be fine. So that brings us to story number 5, Math Beard Update and other mini stories.
Oh, stories about Minnie? Well, you better make sure that Disney don't sue you.
Do I have to?
You want to be a star, don't you? Then take it off! Yeah.
It's a stupid joke, whatever. You may have noticed that we haven't heard much from Mathbeard lately. I certainly did. I mean, I didn't, but there's a wealth of them to keep track of, I guess. So the other day I asked Beetle during lunch, do you not get emails from Mathbeard anymore, or have you just stopped venting to me about them? Beetle smiled. I'm not getting them anymore. I rarely hear from her at all, unless she absolutely has to interact with me. Seems like you stopped telling me those stories about the time that you outed yourself as a pagan by defending that student that she was on about being dark, I said, and Beetle nodded in confirmation. Yeah, she stopped after that. She doesn't really talk to me much anymore either. Interesting, I said, making a mental note of this whole thing. I mean, that's one problem solved. Let's not ask too many questions. Start being problematic about the problem, you know? Just accept it's a good thing. Hey, I don't really care what you think of me. I just didn't want to have to talk to you anymore. That's a win. We take those. A few days later, it was Friday, and that meant taco night. Taco night Friday is pretty cool. Steak night Sundays are probably my favorite thing ever. Every Friday, we meet my mom and brother for dinner after work, and most of those Fridays, we go eat at a local Mexican restaurant, which we love. I will say that for the States, I've never had Mexican food quite like the food here. After we moved to Ireland, I am going to miss it very much. God, tell me about it, dude. The Philippines don't do Mexican food quite right either. They also don't do American food quite right. There's a few places out here, mostly where foreigners stay, that they get the food like bang spot on. And so does my wife at this point too. But overall, if you eat Mexican or American food out here in the Philippines, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. OP says, I might have to travel back periodically just for the food. Sounds insane to me. If I could afford it, I would do it though. Anyway, I digress. We were just finishing up our dinner when I heard a familiar voice ask for a table for 3 at the entrance. I turned and saw Mathbeard. She walked in with her husband and daughter. Honestly, didn't even know she had a husband, but I guess I never paid too much attention to her ring finger either. Anyway, he's blind, which explains how she got him to start with. Jesus Christ. Too petty? Maybe. I regret nothing. Dude, that's a really deep cut. A little bit below the belt, but you know what? I'm gonna allow it. You got me real good. Bloody hell, I grumbled, and Beetle looked at me. What is it? Mathbeard, I whispered in his ear. Bloody hell, he echoed as he turned and saw her as well. Mom and brother were confused as to the change in our demeanor. Oh, don't worry. You're going to find out why pretty shortly. I'll explain when we leave, I said simply as Beetle and I braced ourselves for Mathbeard to come over to us. Except she didn't. Yeah, you guys are out of the inner ring at this point. Ain't that a crying shame? Mathbeard knew the person at the table next to us and went over and greeted her. Then she walked right past our table and went to her table. I know she saw us because she was right next to our table, but she just ignored us. How does that make you feel though, OP? Do you thirst for attention from this woman that you secretly hate? Or are we just making more notes here? And of course all of this was a far cry from the last time we ran into Mathbeard in the wild and she was all touchy with Beetle. Yep, worship the wrong sky, people. Switches me right off. Beetle and I sighed in relief and finished up our dinner and checked out. When we got home that night, we laughed about the incident. I guess she's over her crush on you, I said. Seems like it. I'm okay with that. She really doesn't ever have to talk to me again, he said. If I knew all it would take to keep her away from you was to come out as pagan, I would have told you to do that ages ago. And so it certainly seems we're finally off Mathbeard's radar. Now, if only English Beard and Pastor Beard could follow suit. Now, Pastor Beard wants to save you from yourself, and English Beard, well, he's mostly after the kid. We could fix this. We could put him against the wall. I ain't too scared to fire up the old space laser now that electricity costs are down and Christmas is over. OP says there might have been other little things that don't warrant stories, such as Beetle thinking that something might actually be wrong with COVID Beard. She forgets entire conversations and just seems off. Never you mind about that. That's just the senility creeping in. Happens to the best of us.
Like my cookies? Because I made them with my own fingers.
Dementia.
Beetle joked that she was on something, except I'm not sure he was actually joking. After I talked to him more, he did seem serious. Not sure what's going on with COVID Beard, but with her, there's no telling. Hey, listen, OP, don't worry about that. I'm just getting some of these dank hydroponics. Now the only problem I got's with my respiratory system. We are firmly in the holiday season now, at least when this was written, and that means that English Beard is wearing his Santa shirts, which is somehow the creepiest version of Santa I have ever seen. I happened to see this and it was disturbing. I believe the shirt was at least one size too small, but maybe two. I actually did an AI-generated neckbeard Santa in Photoshop, and the results were so creepily similar to English Beard. Not a bad AI generation. Look at that, he's got a little gaming chair behind him and everything. And who cares if Santa wants to spend all his time in his goon cave? Just doing neckbeard things. I only ask him for one day a year. The rest of the time, he's got all those elves enslaved, entrapped, employed. However you want to look at it, I guess. OP says shutter. I think it's shutter with D's. Shudder. But yeah, it's cool. On a final note, raising teenagers is not for the faint of heart. Oh, God. I don't want to do it. She's 12 now. The hormones are already kicking in and I can't stop it. Really, she's a good kid, though. My little girl got a good head on her shoulders. But yeah, probably there will be some terrible happenings later on down the line. OP says, to all my fellow teen parents out there who are trying to parent, I see you and I feel you. The love of a child is the most intense, which can make it the most painful when they reach a point where they insist on plowing headfirst into the wall that you can clearly see right up ahead. That's fine. Fall off your bike, fucking scrape your knee. That's a lesson learned, isn't it? You could start getting smarter or just end up really, really strong. You decide how to solve this puzzle. OP says, I'm not a perfect mom, but everything I do is what I truly feel is best for Rose. I love that little gobshite, even if she is currently being a gobshite. I leave you today with an Irish proverb that Beetle shared with me. Nabris dolorgan ar stolnacht buil edu schlee. Which literally translate to, don't break your shin on a stool that's nodding your way. Good advice. Sorry I butchered the pronunciation. I didn't even really try. I don't want to embarrass myself actually trying. Anyways, thanks for reading. Subscribe to ReddX, subscribe to Emeraldcade. Support Red with all the links in the description. Let me butcher one more Irish phrase before I go. Tagra agat is fitu agus is sinte go boyfield. There's that word again. Say tuilat agat go dti and cheer uer il e. You're loved, you're worthy, you definitely deserve it. See you next time. I thought I was supposed to say that. Nah, it's fine. It's nice to have a Beardschool update. There was a big break between, the winter happenings. But now it's back in full force, so we'll probably see it back into the rotation. The fact that it's super long, I think, has caused some drop-off. But that ain't no big deal. We take what we can get. And I thank you very much for watching this far, friends. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Consider signing up on Patreon or YouTube channel memberships to help me out every single month with just a couple of bucks. One of your dollars is like, 10, 20 of mine, so just consider it if you would. Always remember, friends, most importantly, that you are indeed loved, you are indeed worthy, you do indeed definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye. Go ahead, cut them open. It's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine.
promise, swearsies, it's just a fact.